Financial disclaimer. The information provided in this stream is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional financial or investment advice. We are not licensed financial advisors, and the content presented here is based on our personal opinions and experiences. Investing in stocks and other financial instruments involves risk, including the potential loss of capital. Any investment decisions you make are solely your own responsibility, and you should conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment choices. The content we share on this stream may not be accurate, complete, or up to date. Market conditions and financial regulations can change rapidly, and we cannot guarantee the accuracy or reliability of the information presented. We do not endorse or promote any specific stocks, companies, or investment strategies. Any actions you take based on the content of this stream are at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses or damages that may occur as a result. Always remember that past performance is not indicative of future results, and no investment is guaranteed to be profitable. Make informed decisions and consider your risk tolerance before investing any funds. By accessing and using this stream, you acknowledge and agree that we are not responsible for any investment decisions you make as a result of the content presented. You are encouraged to seek advice from qualified financial professionals for personalized guidance. Please invest responsibly and only with money you can afford to lose.
Hey man, just found the next guaranteed multi-bagger.
Hey man, you found another one? What is it this time?
Come check this out.
Okay, next please. How can I help you, young man?
We want to go all in on BMEA. We love a business that is burning cash, and a full clinical hold from the FDA is nothing to worry about.
Well, that's fantastic. A really smart decision, young man. We can put that check and it's gone.
Hey, what's up, Redneck? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. And you?
Good, good. Happy Sunday. Thanks for anybody tuning in. I know it's a different day, but thank you for still tuning in.
We have had some. It's a little bit of a boring week stock-wise, I think. But the big highlight of the week was, of course, Friday. What are your thoughts, Dayne?
I'm assuming you're talking about the return of the Go RK.
Yeah.
No, I to be honest, I thought it was funny. I don't know what people were expecting. I guess I didn't have super high expectations because I didn't think he's gonna come out and say something crazy like. I don't know. Like, I don't know what he could have came out with that's going to, like, cause the stock price to go crazy or anything like that. If anything, he came out, if people are arguing that he's in cahoots with Ryan Cohen, and for Ryan Cohen to dilute in the morning of the same, like, day he's doing it, I think he was capitalizing on the fact that the stock price is so high, which makes me think that they're obviously not necessarily business partners per se, because Ryan Cohen was doing what was best for GameStop. Now, RK indirectly benefits from that, but if you looked at his position, I mean, he's down $200-some million and, like, just kind of like joking around the entire time. And I think it was a bit to piss off probably the shorts as well as, Wall Street themselves, who think of themselves as these, like, genius, very professional people, and he's out there basically saying, like, I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, I like this company. I believed in the turnaround. It's 3 years from now. You guys are saying that, it's not turning around in 3 years, but he's like, look at what the balance sheet looks like. They have plenty of time for this turnaround. So regardless of what all you have said, I've been the one who's done this successfully. You've all been wrong. And for you to continue to sit here and act like you're above and smarter than I am, it makes you look dumb because, if he's able to turn a $50,000 investment into over $200 million, and you can say what you want. You can say, like, oh my God, I can't believe he lost $200 million on one day. But at the same time, I mean, when you have that large of a position, it's going to swing and go crazy, especially in a company like GameStop. So, when he's already up hundreds of millions of dollars, like he's won. He's already won. So it doesn't matter. He's not going to get, like, pushed away from what he's doing. And all those options are still up 84%. Name a position you're up 84% and you hate yourself. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they're expecting is. So I don't know. And I think the fact that he acted because to me it's just him acting dumb. But I think he's just playing people. I think it was him out there having a good time and proving to people that he's not there to pump the stock. He's telling you, hey, I still just believe in my thesis. Nothing's changed. And he continues to trade the stock, about as perfect as anyone could do anything, which has just led to unreal returns.
Yeah. I think I think it was good to see that it was like no more discussions of who if there has been some other person doing all the memes and stuff, like this was the end of all of that speculation, right?
Yeah.
And he only had an hour stream, so I think it was more to get the message out there that, hey, this is me, I still believe in the thesis. This is part 2 of the thesis I had back then, we were barely started on that. And he had big faith in Ryan Cohen. Talked a lot about him and the kind of talent that he is, and that the investment is on Ryan Cohen as well as the company, and like you said, they just clean up the balance sheet a lot, and we have talked a little bit about GME here on the stream, and it starts to if you have paid attention to our streams, we rarely deal in companies with above 5 billion, 6-7 billion in market cap. Now obviously GME is way above that, and I'm sure you can justify it like he is. And I thought it was cool also that he pulled in his positions live. He has never done that before, just in the sheets. And yeah, he was messing around a little bit more careful maybe than what we saw back then in terms of putting some restrictions on what he said and stuff like that. But all of that is of course understandable after what happened.
Yeah, and like I said, I think the whole point of the video was just to kind of clarify what's actually going on here, and that he's not doing anything special in the background. It's just him being himself, still believing in the stock and still nailing option calls, like just nailing them. So, and he showed it's his only position. So the other thing too is, call him crazy or not, but the conviction he has in this is got to be just crazy, because you know how it is. You put your entire portfolio into something, like, you have to have a lot of conviction, and if that's his net worth, and even if he had other portfolios, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you got over $200 million in one thing. That's most of your net worth. So yeah, I think it just shows credence to his ability to take that risk on, which I don't think many people even have the capacity to do, and I don't think anybody can do it nearly as well as it seems that he can do. Very, very few.
Yeah.
Me and you can do it.
And
we're probably the next two, but other than that.
Just give us some time, okay?
Yeah, but no, I mean, like we were talking about, because, and here, I'll pull up the portfolio, guys, so you can see, because I have trimmed quite a bit on some of the positions, because like I said, some of the stuff was like things I was just kind of playing around with. So I'm at, I don't know, just shy of 50 positions or something like that. And once again, these aren't stock tips or anything. I like I said, I've been playing with charts and all kinds of things, buying these. So these aren't normally all companies I would be investing in and whatnot. Not saying that they're not good or bad choices, but just do your own due diligence. But after watching his stream again, it just reminds me that the whole point of our stream when we were doing this is we wanted to replicate somewhat of our case style, which has led me back to initially we had talked about taking concentrated positions, and I do feel, once again, I've done the math so many different times, you have to have concentrated positions. If you really want to outperform, you cannot just dilute yourself into all these different companies, because, for instance, if you're looking for a 50% return in a year, if you buy 100 companies, you have to get 100 companies right that have 50% returns. You know what I mean? Like, that is statistically extremely difficult to do. Sure, one or two of them could be multi-baggers or whatnot like that, but that's assuming that all the ones that you're right on are all positive, not losses. Like I'm, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just really hard to do that. If I can find 3 or 4 stocks that I have super high conviction in and just play those ones, which is where I think more of the technicals start to come in, as well as narrative and more volume, more of the trading side of things, as opposed to just the initial fundamentals, which get me interested, That's really the only way I think we can pull off those kind of returns similar to how he did. So I'm going to continue trimming these positions and whatnot and keep working back towards really high conviction plays. And like I was just telling you before the stream too, just things that aren't binary, like BNED became. BNED to me initially didn't seem so binary, and it got to a point where it did, and I was already so involved. What I should have done is just taken the hit there or got out on one of the days it popped, because there was plenty of times I was up money on that, and that would have worked out fine. So like I said, and that's in a sense, it's its own margin of safety there, regardless of what the price is or what's going on in the background. That just in terms of your style is a way of margin of safety. So I'm going to start returning to that, and I'll be very apparent. I mean, you can see this week I'm down. The portfolio is down in general about 2%, which whatever. Like I said, it's noise. I was selling a bunch of stuff in here anyway, so I kind of took some hits on stuff. Because like I said, I was playing with the technicals. But it's just going to be one little part of kind of overall generally viewing a company. But I will go back down to just a few positions because like I said, I really think, by the way, I mean, this is my high risk portfolio. I might as well go high risk and try and find a few names that I think can really return. So I'm not going to ever go quite as big as I did with BNED probably, but you know, like I said, I'd be probably happy to own maybe 3 stocks in the portfolio and really high conviction plays. And, you know, I'm not going to be afraid. I don't want to say I'm pumping and dumping a stock, but I won't be afraid if there's a pop on a day to get out, especially if it's a really concentrated position. So obviously with that being said too, you know, you'll probably see me take on, you know, what most people would consider highly risky things. So please do your own due diligence and do not attempt to copy the style. You know, assess your own risk and get your own financial advisor because, but I don't see any other way of doing it, to be honest. You know, without slowly compounding over time, which is what I'm doing in my other portfolios. So I don't need that. The whole point of this one's risk. I have to get back to that idea.
Yeah. And you know, I have also talked about that. I'm trying to diversify my portfolio a bit more. I have some cash now that I'm planning to use, but I haven't bought anything. So my position is only all in on, not all in because I have the cash position, but I only have one stock right now, which is Alto.
Right.
I've followed them for years, and I'm planning to wait a bit more there. But just like Ron Kitty said, like you have the right to change your thesis, right? And
Right.
Alto has not reached that point for me yet. But I'm like, if nothing happens in 24, I will reconsider a few things in terms of my investment there. But right now, I'm just looking for other stuff and. You have seen me now on some of the streams that I'm paying attention to Mastercraft. There's been some insider buys there. We have looked at their chart a little bit. They have a big cash position, but it's just trading a bit flat for me yet. It's not too exciting. So I haven't taken a position, but I'm tracking. I'm tracking a lot of things. So yeah, that's the update from the portfolios, I guess.
Yeah. So, you know, where I went into, you know, branching out into a ton of companies, I just don't see it working so well in the long run. I think you're better off to just really focus on a few that I can really get conviction. I am going to add the technical side into things because I really think that's going to help me. Just when I backtrack, you know, from what I've been using, it does call things pretty decently. But just taking into a bunch of different things, but obviously always with a fundamental base, you know, understanding the business more importantly, because really that's, if you understand the business, you're going to be able to time events such as earnings reports, you know, possible downside risks, that kind of thing. If you don't understand that kind of stuff, you're going in pretty blind to me, you know, by just looking at a chart.
Yeah.
You know, and even if something looks cheap, just because it's cheap today doesn't mean it's not going to get cheaper. You know, it could, you know, if a company's in a downtrend, there's probably a reason why, and you need to really understand what could change that around. And I understand why, you know, using like Arcade did more of like a liquidation style type analysis, it is a good way to find kind of a bottom. I mean, you can use support and resistance lines too, But if a company has cash on its book and it has plenty of time to operate, I mean, this is his whole argument with GME is that, you know, it's been 3 years and yeah, nothing's necessarily materialized with the turnaround, but they have so much cash now on their books that like they're fine. It doesn't matter if they're burning cash right now. They have plenty of time to figure it out. And maybe he'll decide at a certain point it's not worth it to stay with them if they don't actually figure out that turnaround. But I mean, what are long-term investors, people who are investors, arguing with him about? I mean, he's held in the same company now for years. I mean, isn't that what you're supposed to do?
Yeah.
So
And really know the company also. So, yeah, it's interesting to follow. You don't have a position, right, in GME as well?
I don't right now, no.
No.
I think just during the whole beam trade type thing, it's just I don't have a feel for it. You know, I've traded it a few times and it's tough. It's really tough. It's so up and down. It's so hard to call. I'm not great at short-term technicals. Like I'm not a day trader. So to me, my goal is to find something kind of before everyone else does and kind of get the story together. And then start to build the position into something like that, and then you know, ride that for as long as you can.
Yeah, and I see like in terms of meme stock and stuff like that in the Reddit page for BNED now, you see a lot of the same conversation about what was going on in GME when the short squeeze happened and all that, and it's just like you have all these stocks now, all these tickers that these people are moving to and talk like it's the next GameStop, and it's just not. BNED is not going to be the next GameStop, I think, and there's just a lot of noise right now in the market. I think it's a bit hard to navigate all these tickers that have these big jumps up and down right now. So I also don't have a good feel or understanding maybe about them. So I'm on the sideline for now.
Yeah, I mean, I think an important consideration with all meme stocks is short interest. We've seen time and time again that probably the biggest rallying and probably the biggest indicator of a meme stock actually taking off is an increase in short interest. And you know, you saw it with GameStop. I don't think RK would have necessarily taken some of these positions in these large option contracts like he did if the short interest hadn't increased once again to where it had. You know, I think it's the same thing. Like he said, listen, the stock price started to get down. I still think the company's going to turn around. All of a sudden, all the shorts start piling in again because they want to drive this in. They think it's dead. And he's like, I'm here again saying the same thing. I don't think it's going to die. And he's shown his position, which is him simply saying, like, the shorts are once again going to try to drive this into the ground. And I'm the person on the other side saying that they're wrong. And it worked out again. And with BNED, BNED was the same thing. I think BNED, a lot of investors I feel bad for because they didn't understand the BNED story, which was that there was this heavy dilution coming as well as a reverse split stock or stock split. And a lot of people just saw the short interest, got in, and yes, that's going to cause a pop, but the short interest was there because people were realizing this is going to go down from the dilution. That's why the short interest was there. So if you also don't understand the narrative to it, just because you see short interest too doesn't mean that that's like as far as you should go in your analysis. Like you have to understand, well, why are people so shorted? And if you think that they're wrong, that's when you start to, you know, build some conviction and start to take things a little more serious. Maybe start really paying attention to volume, you know, maybe the traffic around the stock, and then start to understand if you want to take a position in something like that. At least that's how I would probably think to play it now. And you know, for anybody who made money on BNED, good for you. But I felt bad because I know a lot of people were still buying somewhere in the top there. And for anybody who knew the story, that was going to come back down.
Yeah. And now it was down 40% again on Friday. So now it's around 17 cents again, which is where it started to pop initially. So, yeah, I never saw too many similarities in what happened in BNED and GME back then, but I don't know where this is all going. We have talked enough about BNED now and our view on it, I think. So I'm on the sidelines right now. But hey, Dane, we have some people in the chat there. Bilal Dia is asking us, what do you think for next week? Are you talking about GME then, or just in general, Bilal?
Yeah, because you know, kind of Bilal, to Johnny's point is, what do I think for next week in terms of just an individual stock? I mean, that's yes, the charts, please. But are you saying the charts of GME, or are you thinking like just the entire stock market, like anything? Because it's hard to say. I mean, you know, you never know. Like different tickers get thrown to me all the time, and I'll just pull something up and start to delve into it. You know, we could go through the dailies here and just kind of see what's moving and what's not, and if you start to catch something that becomes interesting, that might be enough. But you know, it's going to be to the point that I'm sure sometimes when I take a position, it's like I kind of get a feel for things, and within like a day or two, I just am going to take my full position. Because it's probably going to move, and if it's not going to move, I'm going to get out of there before I get hit too hard on something like that. So, oh yeah, so he's specifically talking about GME. I mean, here let's pull up GME on the chart. So this is a 1-year daily chart, and the way I look at GME right now is, first off, the short interest is still there. Roaring Kitty's going to have to execute those shares at some point. Now, even if he doesn't have the cash position necessarily to buy all of those, he could technically sell a ton of those option contracts as well as exercise a bunch of them too, and just basically buy what he can afford stock-wise. So how high can he drive the price by doing that? Well, you know, how screwed do the shorts get? I don't know. I mean, it comes down to float. And to me, if they're going to sell that many shares, I feel like there's enough float for the shorts to get out. So I have a hard time seeing this go like way high. And I'm not an expert in this, so don't take this as, you know, my financial. I'm just telling you what I picture here. But what's float right now? So short percentage of float is about 30%. So it's high, but that means that there's still 60% of the shares. How much of the shares can he personally buy? What is it, 12 million, right? Because he's got 12,000 contracts.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
No, it's 100 shares per contract. So if you have 12,000, it should be 12 million shares that you could buy. So he could technically buy 12 million shares, but 12 million shares isn't that much. I mean, the float's 270. That's not a lot of the float. So, and there's a ton of shares short. I mean, maybe it could start to drive it up enough that people got to get out. The longer the price stays elevated, the more it really hurts these shorts. It depends on where they got in at. But I mean, you know, if a bunch of shorts continue to increase their position when it was up in like the 60s or whatnot, you know, they're already up, so they're not going to necessarily get rid of that short position anytime soon. So I don't know. It kind of depends. It's hard to say just going off that. 120,000 contracts at $5. I thought it was at $20. He bought them at $5, is what you're saying. Yeah, but he can purchase shares at $20 a share. So I mean, it will be in the money no matter what. So it's not like it won't make sense for him to purchase shares at $20. But at the same time, I mean, I would even go on a shorter chart here. Like if we do like a daily test chart, I mean, to me, it's kind of breaking down, but not terribly. This is like moving average and stochastic and MACD. But and this is just some random numbers I've tried. This is part of my technicals I'm playing around with, guys. So don't hold this chart to anything. I made this up. It's not like this is tried and proven. And I like I said, I've been playing around with the numbers. So don't take this for anything. But it's tough to say. I mean, it depends on what volume will be. How has volume been? I mean, is it still staying just as high as it has been? It's even higher now. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to see what the meme armies want to do. I mean, if people continue to hold, I guess that's a question of how long can the shorts hold, right?
Yeah, I'm just reading a little bit on X. If you follow the account Unusual Whales, they have made a YouTube video about that explains a little bit about the options that he sits on. So there's some explanations out there for everyone who is interested in that stuff.
But yeah, I mean, the fact that they have all this money on a balance sheet now, I mean, it's kind of crazy. I think I had GME pulled up. So if we look at the 1 year cash balance, they had about 870, and this is going back though from 12/31/2023. So this is not updated, and he sold shares now twice. So they're sitting on probably more like $3 billion in cash, which this is a company with net debt of 600. And aren't a bunch of these operating leases? Isn't that what our RK was always talking about? Is most of these are operating leases? Yeah. So I mean, their actual debt numbers must be extremely low. So the one thing you got to look at here is your cash burn, which ironically they actually had earnings in this last year, even though it was only $7 million. So they actually didn't really burn any cash. So I think that's why he's saying, like, look at, I mean, we have positive net income from 2023. And this is trailing 12 months. Revenues are down. Margins aren't up or anything like that. But when you have all that going on, they're slowly paying down debt. The only real negative I see here, if I was a shareholder, is the fact that they're diluting by so much. That dilution, even though it's raising good capital for the company, in terms of return on your capital, has been kind of rough. Now, if you're trading it, maybe that doesn't matter to you. Yeah, Bilal's saying that they could be sitting on about $4 to $5 billion, and cash burns about $35 million per quarter. They have no debt. Yeah, so and there's always gonna be cash burn, but their actual where's their net cash? I mean, yeah, it's going down a little bit, but okay, let's say they are burning $35 million per quarter, so we'll just round and say $120 million. If you have, let's say, even on the low side, $3 billion in cash, that means you have, like, I don't know, 25 years to make it work. So you have so much time here, assuming all things stay the same. I know that's just kind of a ballpark number. Let's say 20 years. You have 20 years to figure it out. I think that's why he's saying, like, how can you short a company with a timeline of 20 years? Because, for instance, the way I would look at this, let's say the stock price on just cash alone gets to around $20. So we'll say if you thought of this like an option contract, they have 20 years of cash on a $20 stock price. Well, that means each year, if they don't continue to actually perform, the stock price should go down by $1 until it hits zero, because at the end it would run out of money and not be worth anything if you're just doing basic numbers valuation wise. So that means each year, even if you're shorting this company, all you should expect is it to go down $1. So if you're only expecting a company to go down $1, that's a 5% return on $20? So you're going to heavily short a company that you think you're going to make 5% on, just mathematically? I mean, that's a bad deal, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
And
not only...
Sorry?
No, not only that, but you also short like someone who has proven themselves, Ryan Cohen, building other companies, and that clearly knows what he's doing, right?
Yeah, I mean,
and that now has an opportunity with all this cash to actually execute and take this to a next level. So I have no idea why you would short something like this.
And to be honest, they're not doing anything crazy with that capital right now. He's not buying other businesses. He's not wasting it. And I'm talking specifically with GameStop. I'm not talking about Bed Bath & Beyond and all that. I'm just talking with GameStop. And if he's not just burning through that cash, he's not doing anything crazy to the business right now, he has plenty of time to sit there and think this through. I mean, this is like what Warren Buffett even says, is like, you sit on this giant cash pile and you wait until shit hits the fan, and then you buy things because everybody else is selling. You buy them on the cheap. So he could do that with GameStop. He could wait till another company that he likes starts to shrink down. I mean, look at we're talking about Buffett. Berkshire Hathaway was a failing textile company, and he turned that into this conglomerate company that's, you know, a mix of other things. But at the same time, Cohen could do that with GameStop. I mean, GameStop could become the future company of many companies, you know, that it just depends. And there's so much speculation here. I think that's why RK continues to make so much money on this, is because the volatility that's involved here, and the fact that so many people are convinced this company will fail, has led them to miss before. Like, you know, you're looking at the forest, or the trees for the forest here. You're not noticing that there's a bigger story going on here. There's plenty of time. There's too much that could possibly turn around. And you were talking a company that actually did have earnings. I mean, it's not much, but they have earnings. So, you know, it just seems really dumb to me that people would look at it like that and not. Yeah, of course, Bilal. Yeah, there's a lot to obviously go over with GameStop. I mean, it's just one of the many crazy stories out there right now, especially with all the memes. And do I have you were asking Bilal specifically next week. I have no idea. It's so hard to read this chart. I don't think there's much you can get in terms of where hold on, I'm trying to pull up the chart again here. I don't think there's all that much you can do in terms of conviction here. Sorry, I'm trying to get Johnny's face back up here. There we go. Sorry, I clicked the wrong thing and it pulls it down here so you can't see what's going on. But yeah, on this chart, I mean, who knows? You want to draw some lines? This is what people with, you know, strong crayons do. I mean, what is this? This is your line here? I mean, what do you want me to do? You know, like, I have no idea where it's going to end up based off that. You know, even if you consider this entire pop here a complete anomaly, I mean, if you wanted, you could draw this line somehow. I don't know what the heck that matters, but somewhere in this range here, I guess if you're really a technicals person and you wanted to measure these lines, you know, if you're going to stay bullish, if this breaks below 20, I would say that would be a really bearish sign just on technicals. But like I said, don't trust me on any of that stuff. And
your artwork starts to look like a diamond, Dane.
Diamond hands.
That's bullish, right?
Hodl. But yeah, and like I said with my this test daily chart here too, like you can see too, even on here, this is probably arguing on like the MACD when this would cross the line is somewhere down here, which would probably be somewhere down here around like low 20s. So if the stock price continues to really fall back, I mean, stochastic, the whole point of stochastic is to show you it turning around, whether it's good or bad, but early. You know, it's supposed to be an early indicator of that things are either going in one direction or they're changing to the other. And right now it's just kind of holding. It's staying right here. It's basically saying like we don't have a signal yet. You know? So it's tough to say. And everything's in the rearview mirror with charts anyways. So that's the other tough thing too, is like it can look so clear in hindsight, but then you actually are looking forward and you realize how difficult it is to actually use technical analysis to really get any kind of opinion on things. It can help form your opinion, but for me, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
You got anything else you want to add on specifically for GameStop?
No, I think you've said a lot, but it's like we started out with as well. It's very hard to say where this is going right now. You have a big story again now with Roaring Kitty showing up and even explaining why he's still adding to his position. So everyone saw what happened last time. So you can never rule anything out. And this Citron research guy also shows up and talks. It's almost. I know it's not the same scenario as last time, but it has a lot of the same players. And I mean, last time when he showed up, he didn't really have any, in my opinion at least, very convincing research when he posted his findings and stuff like that. It was nothing new. He didn't add to the discussion back then. And I feel like it was a bit the same now, that it was accusing him for having big funds in backing him financially and stuff like that. And it's like, I'm assuming. I don't know if he's short again now. Has he confirmed that, Dayne, or what?
He's short. I don't know if he's gotten out of his position, but I imagine if he's defending it like he is, he's probably still holding it.
Yeah.
But I don't think he has any decent points because in the same vein, like I just said, if you're short this company, I would have high conviction in shorting something when, like I said, if you know your time frame, wherever the stock price is, starts to give you an idea of what your gain could be. So let's say GameStop's going to go bankrupt in 1 year, and the stock price was $20. Well, that means I have the potential upside of $20 of gain in 1 year because it could go bankrupt. We're not playing that. We're playing that it has 20 years of cash, which means that my potential upside each year is only 5%. You just divide it by the years. It's not rocket science. It's just very basic understanding of math. Now, granted, I know that's assuming that nothing changes in terms of numbers over the next 20 years, which is insane to think. But I would just say, if you're just going to go on the law of averages, it's probably not a bad way to look at it. And that's, this isn't me coming up with this. This is in, like I said, DeMorden's book. That's how he says to look at it. So, and he's a genius on valuation. So I get what he's saying, just as a rough estimate. And I think that's part of what I've learned about valuation is it's the same with everything. With technical analysis, with fundamentals, it's all just rough estimates. It's just to give yourself a better idea of what's going on and what could possibly happen. And then using that to just find some kind of price that you're comfortable with buying something at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think he has no point saying that he's short and that this is a terrible business because while it may be a terrible business in your opinion, you got a long time before that terrible business shuts down and you took a large position on something that's not going to work out for a long time. And you have to pay when you're short too. So you're looking at that's the other thing too. I didn't even think about that. Think about this. You're getting a possible 5% upside, but you have to pay interest on your position. So if your interest is like, let's say only 1%, 2%, that means your gain's only 3%? How does that make any sense?
No.
Why would you be short this?
We talked a little bit about before the stream also, like, of course, I don't know any one of these people involved, but I assume there's some egos out here as well that wants to prove other people wrong and all that stuff. And maybe, I don't know, everyone knows who were wrong the last time and who got it right. And if I place my bet this time as well, I will 100% place it on Roaring Kitty. I see Bilal is asking, so based on numbers, it's not really a bad long-term investment as some might make it sound. We get the risk, but the upside is also very attractive.
Yeah, Bilal. I mean, like I said, I think of it like an option. You buy options because you think there's a chance that the stock could get to a certain price or above, and you hope whatever you're paying is so cheap, basically, that difference and the risk that it would take for it to get to that price is worth it to you. So same thing. RK's bet on GameStop is that it will turn around. Whether he's right or wrong, we don't know. But if the stock price continues to reflect enough upside potential, if he's right on that potential, then he's made the right call. You know what I mean? Like he says by June 21st, I think the stock price is worth $20 looking out into the future. Now, you can assign whatever kind of growth multiples you want to things to come up with $20 a share. It's not that hard to do. And that's basically what he's saying he believes it. And if the stock price is above $20, it's not whether he's right or wrong in the long term. He's right on the fact that he called that the stock price will be above $20 at that point, and that's all that's all that there is to it. And you can argue that's not an investment, but it's a hell of a way to make money, I'll tell you that.
I'm curious though, Dayne, would you be as relaxed as Roaring Kitty was on the stream when you saw your money is just disappearing?
I mean, don't get me wrong, that's gotta hurt at the same time because this is like we've all talked about, it's generational wealth. But at the same time, if he thinks that the shorts, for instance, could back out of their positions and he doesn't want to give in, he might be right, because what if next week the stock price jumps back to 100?
Yeah, and it might do.
It could. We don't know.
Yeah.
So think of it. He's already in the money with his contracts, right? They're already in the money. He's already going to make hundreds, like $100 million on these contracts regardless. So all he's got to do is basically hold here. And as it starts to approach June 21st, maybe he'll make the decision to get out early. I don't know. That's his call. He seems to be someone who always holds right through and would prefer to buy shares and continue to take that avenue. Which I could see, because if you're buying shares at $20 and there's another pop at some point, you could sell shares then and make even more money. And as time runs out too, the option contracts, the possible upside. I'm not sure when he bought those calls, Bilal. We probably have to do a look back to see it when you could have bought option contracts for that stock price at $5, because I think, like you said, he bought them somewhere around $5 a share essentially per contract. But
I think he also talked about it on last time he was streaming before everything happened with GameStop. He didn't give a shit about the big drops or big gains in a day. And if you have followed our streams, the companies that we are dealing with, which is probably a lot similar to what he was dealing with, you see this happen. Like, we are pretty used to it. Like we saw with BNet on Friday, down 40% in a day. So he has always been this calm when it goes both ways. So that's not really something new. Of course, there's a lot more money involved now, but still the thing is the same.
But this is why we were saying too that the numbers matter, because like I said, if in his valuation he gets that this company's worth more than $20, it doesn't matter if it's worth $25 today or $10 today. As long as he's right at a specific time with those option contracts, that's all that matters. And in terms of just in general with shares, it doesn't matter as long as whatever you bought the share for is less than what the price is now. So even if you're down, though, I mean, you can average down into these things. There's all kinds of things you can do, but he's so far up, it doesn't matter. It's not like it's like playing the lottery and you've already won, and then you're choosing to buy some more lottery tickets. You know what I mean? Like you already won once. You know what I mean? So like you've already proven that what you did was successful.
Yeah.
And I know that's like just a stupid example, but it's just one of those things where he can't really be wrong here at this point. I mean, if the stock price dropped below $20 and those option contracts expired worthless, I think that would be worst case scenario. But I don't know. Will it get back down to 20? Can the shorts push it down that much? I don't know. Will they push it down that much? The problem is, if the shorts continue to heavily add here, all it takes is the meme army to come back in and be like, nope, if you're going to increase short position, we're going to fight right back against you. And the shorts have to pay money to hold their positions. Longs don't. So they're at a loss no matter what.
Yeah, because there's no sign of anyone, on Reddit and all those people giving up here. If anything, they have waited for this moment for almost 3 years now.
Yeah, there is a group of people for years who have been doing this. Now, don't get me wrong, I was in GameStop initially, but I've taken a long break from GameStop until probably when he came back, and that was more just because I'm not him. I didn't have the conviction in this turnaround story that other people have. Don't get me wrong, I would be happy to see GameStop turn around and for all those people to be right. I just don't have that conviction in it. I haven't spent all that time digging through GameStop and like I said, do I think it's a bad play? No. I think Ryan Cohen's a young genius essentially. I think he's a great businessman. And I think GameStop has a great legacy business and that they could do stuff going forward. The video game industry is a massive market. There's so many people who are involved in video games and want to be in video games. So what does GameStop do to capitalize that going forward? I don't know. But if you had to ask me, would I want someone like Ryan Cohen trying to figure it out? Would you be interested in that? Yeah, I can see why people are.
Yeah. Yeah, Bilal, I hope that answers some of your questions. It's you know, um, it's a bit hard to say where this is going, but I would be a bit confident if I had a long position in GameStop. But then again, I don't. So who am I to say anything here?
I'm just starting to go through my dash, just starting to look at some of these companies like iHeart. Is there any tickers that you have recently, or do you want me to just go through the few that you had pulled up? Or I mean, I could go through and screen real quick, but there's probably not a ton that's going to really catch my eye here.
Yeah, that sounds fine. I think the stream today is a little bit shorter than normal, right, Dane?
Yeah, I mean, we could probably. You said you're good till about noon Eastern.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's fine.
We jump in and take some tickers now.
Yeah, I mean, we can go right over to the fundamentals here. I had a few tickers left from before too, so to be honest, I could pull these in, and then do you have? Or you sent me a list of tickers, right?
Yeah.
Here, I'll just type those in real quick and update this, and then we can just start going through those.
Yeah. You have them or?
Yeah, I got them on my thing here. I just gotta type them in. Oh, Conduit's back.
Yeah.
You can get rid of these. All right, I'll update that now. So that'll take a second. We can look at the dash afterwards too. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a red week. I mean, that was part of the thing too with some of my things is they were down little bits, but it wasn't anything crazy. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna attempt to start trying to find some things and try and get in them right before the bigger pops. So I got to make that money back from BNED. I gotta get that back. So
Yeah. I'm in the same boat.
And then you said, do you have a specific amount of companies that you're looking to get into your portfolio, or are you more just focused on?
No. Yeah, not necessarily a specific amount, but I've always been aiming for like, anywhere from 5 to 10. I don't want to have too many in my portfolio, and I've never had even. But I think I should hold at least 4, 5, 6, 7. And then maybe on some. If there's a lot of opportunity, maybe I increase it to 10. But that's the initial aim for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go back. Just because I really think there's you have to take your time with it, but every once in a while the market will hand you something, and I feel like if I can get it to where I notice that everything kind of aligns, I'll take concentrated positions in only a few as they present themselves, and just use that as a way to capitalize it. And I'll set stop losses for myself based on other things. I'm not literally going to put a stop loss on, but and like I said, I'm just going to look for stuff that isn't binary, where there's like an immediate obvious downside, especially for stuff that's already trading down. That way it starts to become interesting, because if you've missed like the past, let's say, few earnings reports and stuff like that, and everyone's kind of already given up on you, the price gets so low on some of those things that they start to become interesting to me.
Yeah.
So let me see if it's finally updated here. Taking forever. Are any of these updated? Oh, they are all. Okay. I don't know. It always seems like the first one I pull up doesn't like refresh or something. It's kind of weird. Let me just refresh this page real quick. All right, there it goes. Okay. Have you looked at these guys yet?
Yeah, most of these are in my tracker already, so they are familiar tickets for me. But some of them are now trading very close to the 52-week low. Others have just had a recent drop or some other stuff. There's a not a big but a small insider purchase in what is it, Future Fuel or FF. So there's a few things that. And Bry, you know, we have talked about them before.
Right.
They still look good to me. And now they are like 4% to the 52-week low here. And they keep the dividend even so.
All right, cool. So I'll just start off with this one, and then I'll just make my way down the list here in the order for as long as we got here. But first one's Titan Machinery. They own and operate a network of full-service agricultural and constructional equipments across America, Europe, and Australia, servicing farms. They operate through different segments: agriculture, construction, blah, blah, blah. Also some more regional. They have equipment and parts sales, equipment repairs, rental functions, a bunch of different manufacturing type things for the actual parts. Agricultural equipment it sells and services include machinery and attachments for ranging from large-scale commercial farming to home and gardening purposes. So kind of the whole spectrum of agriculture, they're involved in different parts. They also include heavy construction, light construction, and residential and roadway type stuff. So, heavy machinery for whether it's just construction type things, farming, all that, blah, blah, blah. Just off a quick look, it looks like it's doing well right now. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'm pulling them up on my side now, so I don't have the numbers.
They have a little bit of debt. It looks like there's an inside purchase, which is interesting here. Although not too big. Although this David Joseph guy, he bought at 18. What is the price right now? Whoops. Come on. 17. Okay, so he bought just above here, and it's a 3% increase in his position, which was, it's for $1 million. So it's, even though it's only 3%, it's still $1 million. So the CFO has also been buying little bits, nothing crazy, really tiny amounts.
Yeah.
So where are they generating their cash right now? They've been taking debt on? So they've been taking debt on, but margins... net income's gone up. Cash flow and all that's down just a little bit. CapEx has grown. They've been buying businesses too. They spent $242 million in the last 3 years, and they don't have a ton of cash that they're sitting on. But they have a lot of assets in comparison. I'll just see what's going on with the ownership here. Did you say you got them pulled up yet, Johnny?
Yeah, my sheet is a bit slow now, but I have them. I just pulled them up now.
Yeah, nothing crazy ownership-wise. There's a bunch of people who own it, but just not... some of them have them higher up. It's like someone has it as their 18th. But I don't know how many... I don't know how many positions they hold, too.
And it says in my sheet that the insider themselves own roughly 11%.
And it had a big drop off actually in this last few months or month. So it's actually trading pretty low. What is this? This is a, let's look at a 3-year chart. This is all-time lows besides COVID. And they've actually reached a support line on the 5-year chart here. So and it's oversold right now.
Yeah.
But on my technicals, I don't have nothing showing it turning around just yet.
No, same here. I don't
So-
see that on the chart.
But
Interesting, the book value. Have you checked
I mean, book value, yeah. I
how
got
much you have
$28.
for cash? Just yeah.
Yeah, my valuation's in the low 20s, kind of. If you somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And that's only because of this cash burn. So if they can turn that around, I mean, look at 2020 and 2021. I mean, their cash flow per operations was $7 a share.
Yeah.
2 years in a row, and they've had that. So it looks pretty cyclical to me. I mean, $10, $6, $4, $2, down to nothing, then seven, back down, kind of negative. So it could be that they're in a bad cycle. And right now, they are spending a lot right now in capex.
Yeah, they are.
So it could be
Could be promising for the future.
yeah. So I would like to let's start figuring out what's actually going on here. And I get a lot of buys on Seeking.
Oh yeah. Research and development is up a lot from the past year.
I mean, the last
Oh, no,
six
sorry,
have all been buys.
SG&A. Yeah.
Looks like for year 2025, though, that they're guided for flat performance. So it might be that there's just not enough here right now to really make anybody excited in this. Maybe if this continues to keep going down, somewhere in there will get interesting.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that could be worth tracking a little bit closely, you know, but it might take some time before you see some improvements, though.
Yeah, and they said because of the flat guidance going forward, it could be that there's more dramatic upcoming earnings declines. So it might be that we're headed into the down part of the cycle here. So this one, knowing that it's cyclical, probably will get really interesting as this starts to continue to get down. Because like I said, where was the chart here? Let's go to like a 10-year chart.
Did you mention the acquisition? Because they have taken on a lot of debt in the last year.
Yeah, I said that they had taken it. I didn't actually see what it all was, but yeah, I commented saying that they've spent over $240 million now.
Yeah.
It looks like the O'Connors still contributes in year-over-year growth, and then also they announced the acquisition of agriculture and construction equipment retailer Scott Supply, which looks to add around $40 million in total revenues. Titan machinery growth is going to seem strong for the next few quarters. The underlying organic performance is still poor, and investors should take the acquisition's effect into consideration. He's saying they have bloated inventory right now, so they might have to sell some stuff and kind of get that off the balance sheet too.
Did you check the notes on their debt?
No, not yet.
Because
They're gonna look
the
to
debt
bring
is
down inventories.
they have a long time before they need to deal with that, I think.
He gets a fair value estimate of $23.85, which is kind of what I said, low 20s.
Yeah, so around tangible book.
Yeah, is that what tangible is? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, actually, it's really similar to tangible.
Yeah.
And like I said, I mean, don't get me wrong. Historically, I mean, some of the years this company really performs well. you saw that start to get. I mean, COVID really, like I said, drew them really down. But I mean, they got all the way up to at the end of 23 up to $45 a share, which obviously is a little high, but still. I mean, I like it. Yeah, I just think I think we're gonna need a little bit more, and just waiting to time this a little bit better. We're not at the bottom of this cyclical thing here. So like I said too, I mean, insiders are buying around here, which I mean that's not a bad sign, honestly. And if he just continues to kind of buy as it goes down, it means he's looking at the long run. Like he knows cyclically that the business is going to continue to get cheap going forward, and he's just continuing to take positions and. Someday when this turns around, it'll be a huge gain for him.
He owns 8% of the company.
Right. So it's not really commodity. So, sorry, just cyclical. So used to writing cyclical / commodity. But insider, I'd say good fundamentals. I'm gonna say low debt just based on their actual assets. I mean, it's not concerning. I will say poor narrative, and I'm going to put them on deck. And I'll just put like 23 as a price, I think.
I have to say though, it's a pretty well driven company. This if you look at the historic performance here, maybe a bit like they have stagnated a bit, but. If you get them a bit cheaper, it can be interesting, this one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I don't think it has to get all that much cheaper from here. I mean, you could see potential upside. I mean, how much does it actually swing in the meantime? I don't know.
Yeah.
But...
chart looks a bit rough right now, though.
Yeah, I mean, they've had just kind of continued rough guidance here.
Yeah.
But I would say down here, you could see a pop. Like I said, I mean, it's very rare you get to oversold RSI on this.
Yeah, true.
And if you look at the 10-year, go back to my excellent coloring skills here. I mean, you could kind of argue that there's some support and lines in here too. So if it could bounce between somewhere in here, it's hard to say exactly where resistance is because it's kind of choppy on this. But I mean, this really swings. You look at how much it's up 1 month and how much it's down each month, a month. Yeah. And then I would say, if I was gonna say like almost an immediate buy somewhere in here, if it doesn't break 13, like if it gets down to 13, then it becomes real interesting to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would even put my conditional formatting lights up, but at around 14, 15 maybe even, just to revisit and see.
Yeah, I mean, like I said too, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, this is me drawing terrible lines. Yeah, I would say around like 15. I'll keep an eye out for it.
Yeah.
All right, on to the next. What we got here? ACDC. I'm assuming this isn't for the band. Yeah, so they're a pro-fat company, if you guys haven't looked into them ever. They operate a fleet of mobile hydraulic fracturing units and other auxiliary equipment that generate revenue providing simulation or stimulation services to its customers. Its propellant production segment provides propellant to oil field service providers and other E&P companies. Its manufacturing segment sells highly engineered, tight tolerance, machined, assembled, and factory tested products like high power hoses, just everything that goes along with the system. Not old, it's young, so there's not a ton of data to go off of here. Some serious insider here, it looks like. What do you think of this?
Yeah, that looks good, but what's the share price currently at?
8-ish?
So they are all down then.
It's got down, there's definitely support around 7.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is kind of traded between 7 and 10 bucks. That's not bad. Upper 9s.
Yeah, it's not bad there.
And it looks like it's starting to turn around. You know, if you were just looking, kind of just this general trend here, you know. All right, here. Cash flow is pretty solid. Earnings aren't great. Revenues are really all over the place right now. Same with earnings. I mean, positive and then negative, almost the exact same amount in 1 year. Pretty low volume right now. At least this last week. And they carry a pretty good amount of debt. CapEx is pretty high.
Yeah, and they don't have so much. What do you have as a share number, share account?
160 right now.
And the year before?
159.
Oh, so I have some wrong numbers there then. But I also have 160 now.
Yeah, I just want to see when this debt's actually due. I'm assuming it's not that old of a company. It must be a while till it's actually due. Yeah, 2029 senior notes. They have an ABL facility right now. But they had a 2023. It's all kind of split all over the place.
Yeah.
They don't really list it out. Says everything looks like it's both due in 2029.
There's a lot of hold ratings on Seeking.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything that really makes it stand out. There's not a ton of people covering it right now.
Is the short interest high in this one? No, it doesn't even say.
Short percentage of float is about 20%, so it's not nothing.
No, because there was a comment on an article here saying over 80% of, it's a bit old though, since 1st December. Over 80% of shares outstanding are held in 2 investment vehicles of the Wilks brothers. I figure only 31 million shares trade in the float. The other 130 million shares are locked up with the Wilks brothers. You're potentially looking at a massive short squeeze if ACDC pays debt down by 500 million over the next few years. So something to keep in mind, I guess.
Yeah.
And those were the insiders you saw, or what? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this says the flow is 95 million.
Yeah, that comment is from December, so I don't know if something has changed.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not feeling much on that. Yeah, I think this is one that's just there's not enough just yet.
Yeah, no, I agree. Good amount of inside buys though.
All right, and I get fair value. It's kind of hard to say. Where are we at? We're at $8. I kind of get fair value right around here, to be honest. Just, I mean, I know the numbers are pretty limited, but like maybe $9
Yeah, maybe 9.
if I was being nice.
It's also a bit hard to say. What do you have for free cash flow in 23 for them?
Per share, I had $1.33, but if you
Okay.
if you dilute by it, it's more like 58 cents.
Yeah.
Because I'm saying they should dilute a little bit due to the debt that they have, but really that's it's not really all that concerning yet. I mean, they got plenty of time to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't really see anything else with this one. You know, what was he saying that's going on coming at the end here? He's saying it's down close to 50% year over year. All their segments were down. I don't know. I don't see anything here.
This is a bit hard because of the limited history and then you get these massive purchases. You don't know who the Wilkes brothers are, right? They are not famous investors or something like that.
I mean, I have to look them up. Maybe they are. Other than being, I know who they are. You know, it could be.
Let me have a quick look. Wilkes Ferris.
All right. Well, while you're looking that up, I'm gonna move on.
Yeah.
Because we've got Leggett and Platt is incorporated is a manufacturer that conceives, designs, and produces a range of engineered components and products found in many homes and automobiles. They have bedding products, specialized products, furniture, flooring, textiles, blah, blah, blah. So a bunch of stuff that's found in homes and also cars. So revenues are down a little, but not terrible. Margins are all down.
They are billionaires, by the way.
Well, they obviously like the business. I mean, you could argue too that, like I said, it could be that it's new, so it's hard to say without really going through all those. You know, I'd have to pull up more. I wish if I had more now to go off of, I would dig more into it. But right now, I just don't. I don't see much. There's not much volume there. It doesn't make me feel like it's something I need to rush to look at. These guys pay a decent dividend that they've been increasing now for the last 10 years. Cash flow looks good. Free cash flow is still $2 a share. Earnings are way down though this year. Like way, way down. I wonder what's going on there. Is it just the actual lack of revenues? So that seems kind of crazy to me. It looks like they must have some debt due right now. I mean, they pretty much have the cash to cover it, so it's not super concerning, but I definitely want to know what's going on with such a rough year. I'm getting some sells coming up right away. Oh, they cut their dividend.
That's a good headline.
Well, they cut their dividend, and that's after 51 consecutive quarters of having it go up. So
Yeah, that's rough.
you're going to see fallout from that because there's probably a ton of people who've been holding this for the dividend. So this must be just down quite a bit. What was it? What's the chart for this look like? Because yikes, it did find support around 10.
Yeah. Little bounce.
But what's actually going on here with the numbers? I mean, 10's around book value. Most people are assuming it will come back. And that's 10 around book value, but they're also, like I said, they're still paying a dividend. So even if they cut the dividend in half here, it's still, I could see why you could argue this is at least worth $10. Anybody who got in around 10 down here, it was a good time to actually catch the reversal. What's volume looking like down here? Volume actually was huge on the day it got back up.
Some of the insiders bought then in around 10 and 11.
Yeah, so I think you could easily argue that there's a ton of support at like $11. But the question is, how high could it go? I don't know.
Yeah.
What is management saying? Are they giving any kind of guidance?
Let me have a look.
Because that would be my next big question, is seeing what guidance is here. Carl Glassman is their new CEO on May 21st.
Yeah, and he bought shares then at that same day,
Gotcha.
or if he got them, I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying the same thing. They're like, it's not bad at this price, but what is they're going for this besides like you're not going to make a ton of money right here, which I kind of agree with. I don't really see this. I don't really see anything really happening here that's going to be a big benefit to them.
They have a updated presentation on their website.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's cheap enough for me no matter what anyways.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, didn't quite get to the tickers that you had sent in.
All good.
But we could probably cover these next week or whatnot.
Yeah. They are, if you have followed the stream for a while, we have gone through some of these from before. So it's just like there's a few things now that are interesting in all of them. Whether it is like how low they are trading or some insiders or whatever.
Yeah, I just wanted to look at what's the chart for BRY right now?
It's pretty down. I think they are close to the 52-week low.
There's pretty good support down here.
Yeah. And
I mean, that's kind
maybe
of
we can go through them on in the week, but I kind of like the fundamentals there still.
it looks good on the chart. Like,
Yeah.
It looks like it's just starting. I mean, this is just a daily chart, but it looks like it's starting to turn around.
Yeah.
And this really goes from the low sixes up to in the eights. I mean, that's a decent.
Yeah.
What was that time frame? I mean, this is in the course of. If you got somewhere in here like 2 months.
Yeah.
You could see pretty good return.
And they pay a dividend, this company.
Yeah, so maybe you could even catch a dividend during that 2 months too. All right. I mean, I'll look at those when I get a chance. I've had BRY on my list for a long time to keep an eye on because I like them.
Yeah.
But
they look good.
Yeah, and let me go back to the portfolio here and just see if there's any things. Some of these names are towards the top have done pretty well for me. Yeah, I've definitely noticed that, like, similar to how kind of, like, and I know I was just playing with technicals, but similar to how I had said before, a lot of the biotechs, they don't really interest me all that much. It's just tough to, it's tough to kind of, like, get, like, a real pop or anything, and every time there's, like, a trial or something and it comes out, it's always just a 50-50. It's either good news or bad news, and it just destroys or really helps the stock. Usually destroys it, so it's not like it's in your benefit to try and call those.
That was the intro video for today.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's just another one where if it doesn't work out, the stock price could drop, like 80% a day. So obviously trying to stay away from anything like that. I get it, there's upside, but I don't have any kind of like edge on guessing those, essentially.
No.
Yeah, and like I said, I'll probably try to continue to kind of trim these down and... But I feel like I've gotten to the point where I'm kind of happy with how the technicals are in terms of just trying to get in and out of something. And like I said, I'm going to just focus on kind of volume, and I'll definitely take short interest into consideration. I was actually going to do a screen of just the stocks with high short interest and look at those to keep an eye on, because I was going through those stocks, and the charts are pretty cyclical, and they usually drive up pretty hard. So you could see just when you have the competition between the shorts and the longs, that if you're on the right side of it when you get in, those can be huge returns in a relatively short amount of time, which, like I said, was going to be kind of the focus going forward here. And like I said, I want to be totally transparent too. As I go and I start to take positions, like especially if they're highly concentrated, I'll walk you through everything that I see that I like about something. Obviously do your own due diligence. There's definitely going to be mistakes being made, and the problem is especially on a stream like this, I might take a huge position, I might be up and pull myself out like in a day or two, and if you don't get to see that, you have no idea that I'm out when someone could be holding or something like that. So don't buy these on our account. But yeah, I think that's going to be my plan going forward.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. The other thing too is, like I said, even just trying to follow the charts of like 80 companies is tough. I thought with the charts it was going to be easy to cover 100 companies, and even doing that, it's exhausting trying to keep an eye on everything.
Yeah, because that's something you kind of have to do daily. So that would still be time consuming.
Yeah, and like you said too, is like, you know, the charts are changing daily. You know, it's not like it always gives you a signal and it holds up. So
No.
like sometimes they're close and you're like going back and forth if you want to take a position or not. I don't know. It's good to see certain things, but at the same time too, just to fully rely on it, I think it's impossible. I definitely couldn't do it.
Yeah, no. And right now we are just a one-man show, you know. We don't get any help or anything. So and we have other stuff to do as well. So the time is always an issue. And some days I can't even sit down here and have a look. So I think for me it wouldn't work to try to you know, keep up with the development of too many tickers in our portfolio.
Yeah. I know in one of my portfolios, one company I've been interested in is Jill. And I was thinking of you actually increasing the position size in that, even though it's up a ton, just because that business just keeps outperforming. The chart on it looks phenomenal. And in one of my other portfolios, I'm way up on it. And it wasn't initially supposed to be this kind of like play, but it just looks good.
Yeah.
And they just keep hitting earnings. So it's just one of those things too that like, I mean, even if you look on the long-term chart here, it just kind of keeps creeping upwards.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, I mean, this is more the company I want to get involved in here as it's at these some of these like lower peaks where there's just this larger upside potential. And I mean, it is getting pricier now. How high it can go, I don't know. But that's another one I was starting to get interested in on another one of my portfolios.
All right, man.
All right,
We're
guys.
gonna see you on Tuesday, or
Yeah, I should be on. I've been going back and forth because Tuesdays sometimes are tough for me. We'll put it on X if I do end up changing. I might switch the day. I don't know if it would be better to do it. I know today we're doing Sunday, so it wouldn't make sense to do it this week, but possibly doing like Monday or something like that. I think sometimes just middle of the week, it's just so hectic that it might be easier to do Monday and just kind of have the stream over for me, and then have you do a little bit later in the week and then the weekend one.
yeah.
So I'll let you know if I feel like switching it up to what day I will work.
Yeah, and we keep you posted on X. So if you don't follow us there to get those up, and I know this weekend we were a bit slow with the update, so apologies for that. But usually we try to send it out the day before or whatever. So we need to improve a little bit on the information there, I guess. But we're gonna fix it.
Yeah, and I'll just keep scanning through. I'm hoping I can find something that can give me a high enough conviction to start to build a position in here. I'm gonna keep my eyes open and just work on building up a good list of companies. You know, like I said, I'll probably keep my on deck list because it's always a good list to kind of peer through. But there's gotta be something that comes up in this next chunk. I mean, stuff's starting to pull back. You're starting to see. I mean, the whole thing's red here. You're seeing all these corrections coming in here. So there's going to be somewhere in here something pulls back too much, or it's turning around and it's kind of getting thrown out with the rest of its industry. So just notice natural gas is starting to creep back up. There's probably some interesting plays here too. All right, guys. Well, thank you as always for tuning in. Like I said, I should be on Tuesday. We'll post if anything changes. Got anything else you want to add, Johnny?
No, just enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks to Bilal for using the chat. And I see that we have had some people watching the entire time. So thanks for following along the journey here, and we look forward to see you on the next one.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Have a good rest of your weekend.
Bye-bye.